Thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, my partner in crime. Really, the best way to describe this person is my everything. It's at Eric DeLalla.
Phil.
Yeah.
Special edition.
Yeah.
It's a Monday, and it's fun day.
Monday fun day.
Yeah.
Yeah. The draft edition.
The draft.
Eric, it was a big weekend for the Broncos.
Yep.
5 draft picks. Nice little trade for a tight end in there. But I think the biggest news was that Ben Swanson did not get moved.
Ugh.
Once again, I am sticking around.
He's supposed to, I'm back, baby.
Keep Talib.
That's a Aqib Talib.
When the Broncos traded that 2024 third to go up and get Riley Moss, we were trying to send Ben Swanson as part of that.
Yeah.
Seahawks said no.
No. I heard that they wanted Ben, but they weren't going to give up enough. Like back.
Oh, got it.
That's what I heard.
That's kind of
So
the opposite.
they said, fine. They said, fine, we'll give him a third.
Perfect.
Because Ben is like a mid-second.
Oh, those
kind of
two,
equivalent.
yeah.
Yeah. They wanted too much.
They wanted too much. We weren't going to give it to him.
We were not going to give it to him. Think of in the Pacific Northwest, all the painting that Swanson could do up there. The birds.
Think of how all that
birds are-
rainfall really good for shrubbery and
The saturation of the colors is
good
just
plants.
sort of insane up there. So
But could you imagine this podcast without me?
no.
I mean, more than the once every other week.
that's true. If it were more than that, it just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't be right, I don't think. Yeah, but yeah, this is a big show because we're going to have a voicemail at the end. So that's going to be kind of
That's going to be nice.
a change. And then also we'll hear from George Payton.
Also a change.
One-on-one.
Who do you talk
George,
to? Me?
Swanson, I think. No, it wasn't.
No. It was you.
It
You
was me,
silly goose.
yeah. Ben, what would you have asked him?
What would I ask him?
Yeah.
You have a favorite photo that I've taken?
Yeah, that's true.
Did you do your background on the players on their interest in art? What
That's
were
true.
they?
I think he likes that one of the ladybug on the pylon. That was his.
Oh,
I think
his
that
favorite.
was, that was,
yeah,
Gabe.
the
That was
ladybug.
That
favorite.
was our team photographers.
Yeah, the focus was really good.
Really good.
Yeah, really
Good aperture.
So I think we'll go over the 5 draft picks that the Broncos made, and we'll each select our favorite pick.
Ooh, Swanson
What
too?
do you think? You want to do that, Swanson, or you just want to watch?
No, I'll participate, sure.
Okay. All right. It's hard to keep. It was only 5 guys, but it was hard to keep track of everything that was going on.
I mean,
For me, at least.
exactly. Just asking a lot of you to
5.
to remember that much.
3 I could do. Like the
Yeah.
first night, I was fine.
Yep.
And then the second day, I was like, what
Well,
happened?
and the difficult thing is only one of them does touchdowns. So for you, that makes it tricky.
That's true. That's true. I heard we did an offensive lineman. I was like, why? Just kidding. Just kidding. Excited about this draft. Just maybe a quick thought here, Eric. You like what the Broncos did?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we talked about before the show, Phil, something that would have made this draft successful is getting 3 guys on day 2. The Broncos found a way to do that. Actually traded up twice, and I think got certainly at least 2 guys that I would expect to make an impact this year, and potentially a third, depending on what happens in the back end of the defense. And then you talk about day 3, you add a need at tight end for essentially a late round pick swap, which was great. And then, Phil, everything I've seen about this center, Alex Forsyth, is that he could be a steal, a potential starting player who really fell because he didn't test very well in the spring, but apparently a really good, really bright football player. So, yeah, you got a guy in J.L. Skinner who was injured, and so maybe he falls a little bit. So potentially, Phil, despite not having a lot of picks, maybe some good quality here for the Broncos.
Yeah, a lot of guys that have some intrigue here, like, hey, let's get him in here and let's see what's going on.
What's happening?
What's happening? Something happened. Yeah, I'm excited to get these guys in here and just have a look at them.
Yeah.
Then I'll be able to tell.
Then you'll know.
And then I'll say, yeah, this guy's good.
Once you get your eyes on him, that's how we really know.
Yeah,
They should probably do that before they draft them, right?
they should, but they don't. I don't know why. Because sometimes when you're just around a guy in the room, you're like, this guy's got, you can feel the aura.
The gravitas.
Yeah, exactly. sometimes that doesn't pop on film. You get a feel for a guy in person. So
Well, what was interesting, Phil, is, I think back to the Surtain pick, right, back in 2021. And Surtain didn't visit here. The Broncos did not really talk to him at all.
Yeah.
George kind of kept it a secret that he liked Surtain the whole time. This draft class seemed to be the opposite. They had a lot of communication with a lot of these guys, had some Zooms.
especially Riley Moss, like they were in on him the whole
Yeah,
time.
they were hanging out a lot with him.
Yeah.
A couple of in-person visits for some of these guys. So they did their homework. I think they know some of that about what's the makeup of these guys, what's their their character like, how do they approach things. So
Yeah.
you hope that maybe takes a little bit of the mystery out of it when you're making a selection.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say about these guys, much like free agency, big, athletic, tough, like the
Physical.
feel of the team, I think is changing. For a long time, the Broncos have always sort of been this speed, undersized speed sort of thing, even dating back to like the Mike Shanahan time. And now it feels like it's changing a little bit here. Just some big dudes coming in.
Yeah, I mean Sanders and Riley Moss, those guys hit.
Yeah. For their positions,
hit.
they're big. Yeah, exactly. So that was sort of my takeaway. And then the other thing is like, just if you played at Oklahoma, you might as well just get ready to come here. The pipeline.
That's true.
Yeah, you just
Samaje Perine,
yeah,
Laren Turner-Yell, Nick Bonito, Marvin Mims.
So a lot of Oklahoma
Got all
guys.
those guys, and we got rid of George Stoya, so that's kind of a plus.
Exactly, it was nice. Mims, they were like, "Oh, do you know Nick Bonito?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I know like half the roster." So it was perfect. So anyway, we'll get into the picks and then our favorite ones. Hear from George Payton. We got a voicemail. So we got a nice little special edition of the Neutral Zone.
We got a lot to do here.
Yeah. Eric, before we dive in, though, this is an interactive show.
That's right.
How do people get involved? How do they, like Bronco Batman that we're going to get to?
Yeah.
How can everybody be like Bronco Batman?
Well, Phil, first you have to own Wayne Manor, so that is a little bit.
Yeah, that's expensive.
That's a little bit of a hump
cave.
to get over there.
The cave is nice.
Yeah.
What is that like on Zillow? It's like cave. Square footage goes up.
Yeah.
It's unfinished, but it's nice.
That's true.
Basement.
Where would that be in Denver? Like City
Inside
Park?
waterfall.
City Park?
Could be. It could be. Yeah. Yeah.
Be really nice.
But they're like no pictures and no tours. So unfortunately,
Hidden
you
driveway.
just have to trust it.
You have to trust it.
Yeah.
Phil, he dialed 707 Neutral to leave a voicemail. You could also leave an email at neutralzoneshow@gmail.com. You could tweet at us directly on Twitter at Eric Dalala with an A, at Phil Milani with a PH.
Non-traditional spellings.
That's right. Or, Phil, you could go to the Broncos' official YouTube channel. Don't go to the... I've seen this a lot. Some people are going to the unofficial. And I wouldn't,
Really?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh my gosh! Don't do that.
No.
That's how you get viruses on your computer and
That's-
stuff.
that's
you
true.
Don't want to do that.
So go to the official one. You can find our videos there. Sidney Jones does some videos there.
Who?
That's what did you? The Ministry of Magic, I think, is what how you put it.
Yeah. Dolores Umbridge, I think, is what we settled on.
But you settled on that. No, Sydney does some nice stuff there too.
She does.
But I would click on our videos
Our
first.
friend. Yeah. She's a friend of the show, I would
course.
say. Yeah, she was a friend of the show. Let's read some YouTube comments from last week. This was our pre-draft edition of the Neutral Zone. Be the beast. Be the beast. You guys are bad. 7th round. Give the man a break. Thanks for the laugh, fellas. That's because Ben Swanson missed last week's show. The Broncos hoping to get a 7th round pick for Ben Swanson.
Future or this year?
It was this year.
Yeah, future
It
is
didn't work
worth
out.
maybe next year's 6th.
It just didn't work out. I don't know. We couldn't get anything for Swanson. Dominic Cavazos. These guys' rat-a-tat is superb. However, when I see Phil alone on TV or hear Eric's sweet voice at pressers, it's all rat and no tat. Stay together, boys. Much love.
Here's
That's a
what I'll
great
say.
comment. That's a nice comment.
Here's what I'll say. You don't ever want all rat and no tat.
That's true.
You need a
the
nice
whole-
you need a nice blend of rat and tat.
Exactly.
Swanson's no rat and all tat.
I don't even know what that means.
Francisco Joaquina. Should be an exciting day for us Broncos fans. Kind of like watching paint dry.
Wow.
Night one was a little bit, I was like, oh, what's going to happen here?
Your paint trade up twice on day 2, huh?
Oh, I think they were just talking about the first round.
Oh.
Yeah. Day 2, that was spicy.
Spicy. We're just
That was
running
nice.
around.
That
Swanson
was
was
nice.
screaming.
Jason O'Neill, well done, gentlemen. I enjoy the humor and insight. That's what we're all about.
That's
here.
what we
That's
do
what we're
both.
about.
Both.
Jesse Caffarel, pre-draft comment here. Apparently, Philip Lindsay said he would love to come back to the Broncos as a role player. What do you think about that, Eric? What, you think they should give him a chance to come back?
I would think they maybe add a running back here at some point. I don't know if it'll be Philip Lindsay. He's up there with the Seattle Dragons, right?
I think is that where he's at? The
I believe
Dragons?
so.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty sure.
So there's kind of a Seattle-Denver rivalry right now, so I don't know if you could overcome that.
R.I.P. to our Avalanche.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Kraken? Man,
That was a bummer.
I can't talk about it.
Maybe do you like the reviewing the offsides or no?
Do they review offsides there?
Did you watch the game?
Which game? Oh, the NHL game. Yeah. You know what I don't like about it is I thought you were talking about the Dragons. I was like, they review offsides? I was like, no, I was not. I missed the Dragons game.
No, when you said
what I was
Avalanche and Kraken, I kind of transitioned to
then
that
I was
game.
like, I can't talk about it. I don't like that the play continues on. Well, but there's no real way to do it, though. So, but no, I don't like
Well,
it.
if you miss it, you miss it.
You miss it, yeah. Because, like, you're just, like, pumped about the goal, and it's really deflating when you remove the goal.
Yeah.
Takes the wind out of your
And it was a
sails
cool
little
shot.
bit. It was a nice shot.
McKinnon tried to carry him.
He did.
But,
The Avs got to do some work. They got to get back to the drawing board.
well, they had
kind
some
of-
tough injuries
Yeah, it kind of reminds you, though, how special the run was a year ago.
and pretty dominant, really.
It really was. Yeah. But, yeah, you're missing your captain all year long. That's a little bit hard.
McCarr misses a game.
McCarr missed a game in the series. They were missing Cogliano.
Yeah, a little neck fracture.
Yeah, he came back and played after
That's
that.
crazy.
These hockey guys are insane.
Yeah. It's just my neck. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Let me just get back out there, block some shots or something. Yeah. They need. I think they need a little. They need a second line.
They missed
offensive
Kadri.
power. Yeah.
They need a little more firepower.
They need a little more firepower. Although
As somebody who has watched 4 hockey games this year, that's my opinion.
the power play dominant as ever, but they need another line. I think. So it's okay. But did you die? Question mark! Exclamation point. I'm not sure what that means. Fire video as always. Fire emoji. Keep up the juicy work. I don't know. Keep up the juicy work. I don't see a comment here, but last week we commented about our Pete's favorite pizza toppings, and I did recall seeing one in here, but it must have been deleted or something about burger toppings.
Yeah.
What are your favorite burger toppings,
Does
Eric?
cheese
and then we'll
count?
get going. Cheese counts for this one. I think they
Okay,
said yes.
cheese?
Cheese. What kind of cheese though?
Oh.
On your burger? This is an
Like a
important
nice,
answer.
like a sharp cheddar. I
Sharp
like.
cheddar,
Yeah,
okay.
I like that. I like some good bacon.
Ooh.
And then this wouldn't go with that burger necessarily, but there's a nice burger I enjoy from a local establishment.
Oh yeah.
They put cheese curds on their burger.
Oh, you do the cheddar cheese and the cheese curds? Or
Yeah, that's what they do.
double
They
cheese.
do double cheese.
Yeah. And then what? And then you just
you just have
hope
a
that you
heart
wake
attack.
up the next day. Swanson, how about you? Your top burger?
I like the green chili.
Oh,
Colorado burger, huh?
Yeah. Been coming around to like onion, red onion. I used to not like red onion on the burger, but
Coming around.
Yeah.
Okay. You need one
obviously
more.
not together.
You
I
need
don't
one
think
more.
that really works together.
You need one more.
But
It could work together.
I have to go with the bacon. I do like bacon.
Bacon. Yeah, bacon is
Bacon's
nice.
a-
Bacon is a
a
go-to, I
fattiness,
think.
yeah.
I do
what about
like
like a little pancetta?
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Eric, last week we were talking about pizza toppings, and he went straight fancy bougie pizza. Yeah, I was like, I don't think that's what this is about, but I like some sautéed onions. I like when they're like cooked up a little bit. I like the mushrooms, and then I would say bacon. I think bacon is nice on there. I could also do Swiss cheese. I like a Swiss cheese on
Okay,
there.
well, you get 3, not 4,
Yeah,
so that's
I know.
kind of.
How about a fried egg? Have you ever done that on a burger? Or no, you don't
I
do
like a
that?
fried egg.
I do like it. I
do
do.
like
I think
that.
it's
Kind of,
good.
you're kind of ignoring the rules of this engagement.
3.
Yeah. Like, here's
Okay,
a
I
bunch
forgot
of.
about the cheese.
Onions,
I do like cheese.
mushrooms, and bacon. That's it.
Perfect.
Done. Okay, let's dive into our first topic here. Really, our only topic, talking about the draft. Eric, what would you say? Do you want to go by the picks, or do you want to just go straight into our favorites, or you want to go through them a
Maybe we
little
each
bit?
name our favorite, and then we
Okay.
talk about the other guys, so they
Okay.
don't get left out.
Okay, yeah. Name a
Call
favorite.
them like the
then.
Swansons of the draft.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget about Swanson.
Phil, I think my favorite selection of the 2023 NFL draft is Drew Sanders.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
are
think
you
it's
gonna?
well, no, I just think a lot of people like Drew Sanders. I'll go a different direction,
Okay.
but yeah.
I mentioned him before the draft. One of the many players that,
Yeah.
if you listen to me,
You hit 1 of 50, you got it.
yeah,
Congratulations.
If you hit 77 out of 100, it's good.
You did the 1 out of 50. That's
yeah.
that's 2%.
That's not as good. Hey, good math.
kind of like the milk.
Good math. He's physical. He's got a pass rush ability. Big guy. Those are all positives. Obviously, the inside linebacker spot is not like a huge need at the moment, but he sounds like a guy maybe you could get in there on sub packages, maybe get him out wide, rushing a little bit. Sean Payton mentioned Demario Davis in New Orleans and how they were able to rush him up the middle. I think we talk so much about edge rusher. It's important to remember that you can bring pressure from other places too, right? And that if you can find ways to, get Drew Sanders on a delayed blitz or a regular blitz, and he can find a way to beat a guard or a center, these sacks all count the same. And we've actually seen interior pressure cause issues a little bit more the last few years. So I really like that. But I think what stands out to me most, Phil, is maybe his mentality. When we talked to him after the draft, I don't want to say he was like upset, but he definitely wasn't pleased.
He thought he was going earlier.
This is a guy that if you look at Dane Brugler from The Athletic, he had him the 27th best player in the draft, the top inside linebacker. A lot of places had him going early second, late second. I mentioned him at one point, and I said there's no way he gets there to 67, and so the Broncos might have to trade up to get him if he falls to the 50s. The fact that he was there, I've seen some people call it one of the steals of the draft. This is a guy that is going to come in motivated and ready to prove people wrong that he should not have been a third-round pick. And I like people that come in with a little bit of an edge and not happy with how things went. You think back to our guy, C.J. Anderson, of course.
Oh, yeah. He just looks
22
down.
running backs drafted ahead of him.
Something like that.
Motivated. I like that. Tim Patrick, a chip on his shoulder, of course.
Those are CFAs, but yes, chips, though. Those are CFA chips. This guy's a third-round chip.
But I think, he views himself as probably a first-round player.
Yeah.
So probably similarly can motivate himself. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what Drew Sanders can do when he gets on the field.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a unanimous All-American, first-team All-SEC kind of guy. 9.5 sacks last year, 103 tackles. So the production is on film there. He went to Alabama his first couple of years, and then he moved over to Arkansas and really shined brightly there. So, yeah. Why do you think he fell to the third round, Eric?
From what Sean Payton said in the post-draft press conference, teams maybe had different ideas of how they would use him. Is he an inside linebacker? Is he an outside linebacker? I think when you have that sort of positional, we like to look at it as versatility, but I think some teams view it as, okay, where do we play this guy? And so I think back to, Baron Browning. Baron Browning was a good player, but he moved all over the place at Ohio State. And so I don't know if teams knew where they were going to use him. And maybe teams were just not sure where they were going to play Drew Sanders. I would also say from a positional value standpoint, teams don't view inside linebackers probably quite as, as quite as important pieces as an edge rusher. But if he has that ability to move all over the place, I think I saw a tweet from our friend Mike Kliss who referred to him as a Carl Mecklenburg type, just able to move all over the place. Obviously, that's
Different era.
High praise there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wonder if teams maybe didn't know where they were going to put him. But this is a guy that can play football, and
Yeah, you get
you'll
yourself a football
find
player.
a spot for him. Certainly, we've seen what Denver's defense at times over the last 6-7 years has looked like when you don't have good inside linebacker
Yeah.
play, and so it is an important spot. And for whatever reason, he fell, and Broncos, I think, feel fortunate to have gotten him there.
And right now, the Broncos brought back Alex Singleton and Josie Jewell. We're assuming those two are probably the starters there. And then behind them, Jonas Griffin and probably
Justin Cernod.
Justin Strnad is there too. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And then maybe Drew Sanders in the mix there
that's
too.
that's a crowded room.
Yeah. But if you look around the NFL, Eric, like this kind of hybrid role, you start to see how dangerous it could be, like how big of a weapon if you use them correctly. You know, like a Micah Parsons or like Isaiah Simmons with Vance Joseph last couple of years in Arizona there. This kind of a player, you don't know what they're doing pre-snap. You know, are they coming? Are they dropping off in coverage? They can kind of do a little bit of both there. If you have a vision, which it sounds like the Broncos do for how they want to use him, this kind of versatile linebacker hybrid kind of player, that could be a real weapon for a defense.
Yeah, and I think Parsons might be a good comparison there. Obviously, he's a great athlete, but he kind of fell a little bit too, only to
11,
12,
right?
11 or 12.
Yeah.
But I think he was a third or fourth defender off the board, so not, if you redrafted, it would be a really tough decision between Micah and Pat Surtain, obviously, but
Definitely.
both of those guys would be going in the top 5 of the draft. And so, I don't know if teams quite weren't sure with Parsons. Obviously, Parsons had a little bit of some character red flags pop up from college. But, if the Broncos know how to use Drew Sanders in a similar way where he can come off the edge, he can play in the middle of the defense, that's exciting. And I think Browning still has that versatility. So now you have two guys that you can use like that. And that, if you're Vance Joseph, has to be exciting. I don't know if he quite fits the Isaiah Simmons mold, just because Simmons played a little bit more safety too. But certainly, if Drew Sanders can cover a line or a tight end, that's a
big thing in
deal.
this division, right?
Yeah. So if you're Vance Joseph, you got to be really thrilled that a guy like that fell to you.
Yeah. And he talked about his nutrition too. So, his nutrition getting in the weight room. So you assume that he sort of fits that mold of the athletic kind of guy the Broncos want.
Yeah, I think it stood out to me how mature a lot of these players were that we talked to, just in terms of taking care of their bodies or being team captains, or realizing the work that they need to put in. I mean, certainly that's an element of it, and you want to find the best athlete and the best player, but having a degree of maturity and knowing how to come in and contribute helps your chances of being a big time piece of this early on in the process.
Yeah. And you think special teams is in the future for him?
Oh yeah, this guy, I would think. I mean, we saw a couple years ago Josie Jewell running down the field on special teams as a starter. If you've got Drew Sanders there, maybe you keep some of those guys off special teams, protect them a little bit. And listening to Sean Payton, I don't think he was talking about Sanders, but he said, listen, there's very few, you've got like 2 or 3 guys in the NFL that don't go in a game. And so if you're going to get a jersey, you've got to have a defined role and a vision for here's how many snaps they're going to play. Here's what special teams units are going to play on. So yeah, I would think Sanders would be out there a lot on special teams this year.
Yeah. He even mentioned like backup offensive linemen play special teams.
Yep.
He was like, your backup quarterback maybe doesn't play.
Yep.
So for my pick, I was going between Marvin Mims and Riley Moss. I think I'm going to go Riley Moss.
Oh,
Eric.
wow, okay.
I feel like the Broncos are pretty high on him. I guess that's what sort of swung the balance for me because according to Moss, they met at the Combine, they met at the Senior Bowl, they did a top 30 visit. I mean, they were around him a lot. And that suggests to me that they really saw something in him. Not just the stuff that they saw on tape, which, in 2021, he had 4 interceptions.
What year was that?
2021. I was going to try to say 2021, but I like 2021. I think better. I kind of went in between. That was sort of it's a hybrid year. Type of thing,
hybrid year.
2021.
Like a Drew Sanders year.
2021. Which do you like better, 2021 or
2021? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Easier off the tongue.
Yeah. He was the Big Ten Defensive Back of the Year that year. Eric. So the stuff on tape shows up for me. He's 6'1", 193, big, physical. 4 interceptions that year suggests that he can get after the ball a little bit there. And similarly, some people maybe thought about moving him to safety, keeping him at cornerback. The Broncos, it sounds like, are going to keep him at cornerback, but maybe there's some flexibility there in terms of, hey, if a guy goes down, maybe you move him over, or, you got some flexibility with what he's going to be able to do. He'll be able to play special teams. And the other thing I liked about him was I was reading up a little about him, Eric, just trying to study the person.
Who taught you that?
I like to read about these guys.
Yep.
In his fall semester of his freshman year, Eric, Iowa did not have a scholarship for him. He was thinking about going to North Dakota State.
Win a natty.
Think about how things could have been different. He's going this path now, but he went on this path. 2 different journeys that he could have embarked upon. He went down the Iowa one. He played his true freshman year just on his own. He paid to go to school at Iowa.
Wow.
And then after the season was over, he got a scholarship.
He's from Iowa, right?
He's from Iowa.
In-state tuition probably helps.
Yeah. You think he knows Josie? He probably just knows Josie already.
He's a legend. He's probably been to his juicery.
Most definitely. And Decorah?
Yeah.
I've been there, Eric. 43
Juices, what's it called? Juice 43? You guys went there.
I think it's 43, yeah. I have a hat that I support. I support
You support the
business.
hat?
I support the business.
Route 43.
Route 43. Yeah, Route 43. Swanson got an acai bowl there.
It was great.
Yeah. You ever do the acai?
Decorah, Iowa.
Decorah, yeah.
If you ever pop by.
Yeah.
Riley's probably been through Decorah.
Brandon from
Yes or
Iowa. He's from Newton, Iowa.
No, I thought it started with an A. A Kenny or something like that?
That's where we went to high school. And Kenny?
He's from Newton, Iowa.
Newton?
Yeah.
Bet it.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Fact check,
Maybe
yes.
you're just making that
No, I
stuff up.
promise you.
You promise?
I promise.
Where is that? That's sort of
near
near Des Moines, right?
I believe it's between Iowa City and Des Moines.
Got it. So anyway, he decided to go there.
You have no idea where either of those cities are. So.
Yes, I have. I spent a lot of time in Iowa. Fact check.
True.
You ever been to Cedar Rapids?
You drove basically across the whole state.
We drove in a lightning storm that I've never seen anything like that before. Bang! All around us, It was like Mike Breen was in the car.
Lightning made noise?
Exactly.
I didn't think lightning made noise. But that's kind of cool.
Lightning does make noise. The energy of the lightning bursts, and it makes the crack that you hear the thunder. Noise. Yeah. That the lightning is making the noise.
Did you know lightning originates from the ground and goes up?
All the time, or just some certain types of lightning? I think certain types do that.
I thought there was something about like the electricity in the air then does something to the ground and the lightning comes up from the ground. I heard that somewhere.
Nice. Because there's the bolts kind of lightning, and then there's the kind where it just like is a light flash.
Oh.
I think those are 2 different I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But Swanson was crying in the car. He looked up.
I'm not ready to go.
I was on the bargaining stage.
Yeah.
If we just make it to Decorah,
I'll never. What did you say?
I'll be nice to Phil.
Yeah. That's right.
I'll never make fun of him again.
Newton, right directly east of Des Moines.
Okay. We did learn that the tires ground.
Yeah, of course.
Ground the
rubber.
electricity. So
that's why if you're wearing rubber
We were
boots,
doing some Googling in the car. That's for sure.
That's how scary it was. Wow. So yeah, just
how
name
to
something.
make a will.
I've been to many Iowa cities as well.
As fast as possible.
Ames, Davenport,
you spent some
Iowa
time
City.
in Ames, haven't you?
Yep, I've been there.
Some nice weekends in
Cedar
Ames.
Falls, Cedar Rapids.
Oh, you do both Cedars?
2 Cedars.
Yeah, the 2
North
Cedars.
English.
English?
North English.
Wow.
You don't go to English. You go to North English.
Wow.
I've been to a lot of.
You ever go to the border?
World's largest truck
Minnesota?
stop. No, I haven't done that.
Yeah, we did that.
You don't want
It
to
was
do
nice. It was nice. Anyway.
From Iowa.
He's from Iowa. And I think that he sounded like a mature kid. You mentioned that a lot of them sounded like that. He wants to come in and learn from the other DBs that are already with the Broncos, and I think he's going to be a nice addition to the secondary.
Yeah, and kind of sneakily, the cornerback position for the Broncos has gotten very good.
It's good.
It's good. You got Pat Surtain, who's obviously an All-Pro. Damari Mathis, I thought, was a really good player, especially as a rookie last year.
Yeah.
You got Riley coming in now, who's in addition to being a good cover corner and really has kind of the ball skills you're looking for in terms of being able to turn some of these opportunities into interceptions, some pick sixes. But he's also physical. You watch him come up and make some of these tackles. He can hit, and so I'm impressed by that. You had Tremont Smith in free agency as another depth piece, and then K'Wan Williams, of course,
Shark
in the slot, a good player. So
he's physical.
He is too.
Come up and hit you.
You look at some of these receiving cores in the AFC West and just in the league in general, the Broncos, I think, are poised to match up nicely here. So
yeah, like a guy like Riley Moss maybe is another guy you throw on a tight end. We mentioned that with Drew Sanders, but at 6'1", 193, I think Riley Moss could also he has some of that physicality too. That I think he could.
You gotta be physical.
Yeah.
But I just think that teams are now looking for 3 wide receivers, right? That can hurt you.
Wait, 3 wide? Wow.
Wouldn't advise that if you were certain.
Interesting.
I like it.
You like the 3 wide?
I like it.
You like that.
So he's a nice piece, and I think that was more of a need than maybe people. We talked about it a little bit, but I do think corner was a place they needed to add somebody.
Yeah.
And add a high quality guy. So they clearly liked him, Phil. They gave up a future third. They did have 2 of those because of the Sean Payton trade. They got a third back next year, so made it a little easier to stomach, I think. But that's a lot of value, and I think Sean said this, that hey, the job now is to go make sure that win some games so that pick is not as
Makes
good.
Sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that too. Yeah.
So that you're
next year's third.
So that you're
down.
not giving up the 67th overall pick.
Yeah.
In 2024. Hey, go win some football games. Let's put this pick in the 90s.
But that tells you something, right? Just about how the Broncos feel about this kid, that they met with him so many times, and then they were like, "We got to go get him."
Yeah.
I mean, that sort of suggests something to me that like.
And it was interesting because who knows what teams think of this guy compared to other evaluators, but some people had a 4th round grade on him, a 5th round grade on him. So it was maybe people were like, oh, is this a little bit early? All it takes is one other team to want him. And so if the Broncos really felt like they needed this guy, go get him.
Go get him. Yeah, exactly. And, during the whole draft process, we're just reading what other evaluators think. So it's like it's
some
really
group
hard
think.
to. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What did Sean say about the draft grades? He was like.
He said he loves them.
He loved it.
I don't think that he was being serious.
Yeah. Because he was saying it takes 3 years to really know. So it takes a little bit of time. We'll find out.
That's right.
We'll find out. Eric, before we get to the other picks, you want to hear a little bit from George Payton?
Oh, that's a nice
I think it could be nice.
That was good.
Okay. You like that?
That was really nice.
Yeah. So we'll get to the rest of the picks here. But first, my conversation post-draft, one-on-one with Broncos general manager, George Payton. George, how'd everything go this weekend?
We felt like we helped ourselves. It was really enjoyed the process. First draft with Sean and a bunch of new coaches, and so I thought it went really well.
Obviously, you're trying to find guys to fit this coaching staff, what they like to do out there. How did you feel like that went?
Good. I feel like we got 5 draft picks that fit the makeup we're looking for on and off the field. Athletic makeup as well. Felt like we helped ourselves on defense with the 3 draft picks, and I got some speed on offense as well with Mims, and then really, really pleased with our last pick, Forsythe, at center.
You got some big guys, like you mentioned, some athletic guys. Is that what this team's going to be about next year?
I think we know Sean wants size. He wants a big physical football team, and I think that's kind of been what we've been looking for all offseason. You look in free agency with some of the signings we did there, and now with the draft.
I know it doesn't. You've been asked a lot. Okay, well, how does this pick? What does that mean for the current guys? But just adding depth in certain spots. I mean, is that what it's all about?
It's all about competition. You can't have enough depth, and I think we helped our depth. The rookies who know, hopefully they become starters. But I know we've helped our depth. We've helped our special teams.
You mentioned Marvin Mims, your first pick from Oklahoma there. Second year in a row that your first pick's from Oklahoma. A little bit of a pipeline.
Yeah, Oklahoma's a pipeline. No, Marvin. he was a target player for us. You know, he has unique speed, really good hands. He tracks it well. But the thing we really like is the makeup, the heart, the work ethic on and off the field. His football character is a 10.
And it seems like maybe some guys predicted in some of these mock drafts to go a little bit earlier. Felt you guys, you feel like you got lucky, got some guys that, hey, you really wanted, and they kind of dropped to where you needed them to be?
Yeah, for us, we feel like they fell. You know, who knows what the league thinks, but we're really happy with all those players. Drew and Drew Sanders, you know, we felt like, you know, he should have been picked earlier, but we're really, you know, he's 6'4", he's athletic, really good pressure player. He can cover, so we feel good about Drew. And then Riley, you know, he was just kind of hanging around, and so we went and got him. We were aggressive and went and got him.
This was your third draft with the Broncos, leading the way. Each year, feel like you learn something new? Are you getting better at this, or how does it work?
We'll see. You know, I feel like, you always learn something every year, and you know, I feel like it's, you know, we've had a couple different coaches, so it changes. It's a transition. So, but I felt this was really smooth. I love the process with Sean, the coaches. I thought the scouts were outstanding.
How did that work? You know, you mentioned the challenges working with the different coaches. You just adapt and go with the flow, or how does that work?
You do, and you really have to be an expert, you know, in the schemes and what we're going to do on offense, defense, special teams, and bring in the players that fit those schemes. You know, and if you don't bring in the right players, you know, the team won't get built. You know, and so that's what we prioritize this whole offseason, is becoming experts on what we're doing, and I feel like we're there.
The last one for you, George, here. Spent the last several months in dark rooms watching tape and studying. What can you say about your staff and all the scouts and how this all came together?
No, you know, the scouts are the heroes in all this. I mean, they're the ones they start the process, you know, last May. They're working all summer. All fall they're on the road, all spring. And so this is kind of their Super Bowl. And so I can't thank them enough for all the hard work. They don't get any credit. You know, this is their Super Bowl. They only get credit if it's negative. You know, they don't get a lot of positive credit, but I think we have the best scouting staff in the NFL, and I couldn't thank them enough.
All right, George, appreciate your time. Congrats.
All right, Phil, thank you.
Our thanks to George Paton for spending a little bit of time post-draft. I mean, that's an intense time. You know, they're on the phone. They're trying to bring in these CFAs. You know, they're trying to add some talent to the team. And instead of doing that, he was like, I got to talk to Phil.
Kind of a bummer.
Don't you think?
I do think that.
That is what he was. That's what happened. So, you know,
but it was still nice of him to take the time.
Important deal is, you know, the neutral zone. It's important. It's important. Eric, let's talk about some of the other picks that the Broncos made. Of course, starting with pick number 63, the final pick of the second round, Marvin Mims Jr., wide receiver out of Oklahoma.
Love it, Phil. The Broncos needed speed, and they got speed. I think he ran a 4.3 at the combine. This is a guy. This is a guy that can get up and go. Has good hands too. You know, sometimes when these guys are fast, maybe they lose the the ability to make contested catches. And to be fair, he did struggle at times with a few drops, but he shows the ability to make catches in traffic.
Texas catch?
Yep. Oof. Make some acrobatic catches, make some catches with guys draped all over him. There's a different window in the NFL of how open you're going to be. And I think Marvin showed the ability to make some of those big-time catches. We know how much Russ loves throwing the deep ball. You need speed to be able to do that. You need somebody to be able to track the ball over their shoulder. Marvin has a lot of experience doing that. And so when I think about what is this offense going to look like, I would imagine it's going to be, let's run the football. Let's try to be physical, kind of grind out teams. And then every now and then we're going to take a shot down the field. Marvin Mims, I think, has a chance to be on the receiving end on some of those moon balls, as we like to call them. And listen, Phil, for as talented as the Broncos receiver room is with Jerry Jeudy, with Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, from a speed standpoint, you maybe lack a little bit of maybe just like a proven commodity, right? Because Montrell Washington's a young guy, didn't contribute a whole lot on offense. Jalen Virgil, very fast, but he, undrafted player who had his moments. He had that long touchdown right against the Titans, but didn't do. It wasn't like an every game contributor. And then KJ Hamler, of course, who was intended to be that guy, has just dealt with a lot of injuries, and we don't really know what his status is going to be going into the season. And so the Broncos needed to find speed. We've said that from the time the season ended, was the Broncos needed to find a playmaker, a speed guy. They did that in Mims. And Phil, I was driving into work today. There's a lot of
You are?
traffic. And
Oh,
I was
really?
thinking, man, I wish this was a Marvin Mims type
Kinda
of
day.
commute.
Yeah.
Sean Payton said he's like a highway on a Sunday, wide open.
On the weekend,
Go as
yeah.
fast as you want to.
He's open.
Yeah.
He gets open. I like that. That was maybe one of the lines of the draft, I would say, from Sean.
Yeah,
that
of
was
course.
nice. I like that. Every media availability, you get a nice little something from Sean. I
Yeah.
like that.
He knows what he's doing.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, people described him as a straight line burner. Eric. And we talked about this before the draft. We were like, hey, they need to add a playmaker here. And so this was the playmaker that they added. And I'm interested to just see how a creative guy like Sean Payton, so much talk about how he gets the most out of his guys. Well, now he's got this physical specimen that he's going to be able to get the most out of, and so I'm interested to see how they use a guy like Marvin Mims, 5'10", 183. So a little bit on the shorter side, but he's got that speed. So you got to respect it. Second team All Big 12, according to the AP last year, Eric. So more than 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. So that's a pretty nice season considering all of the changes there at Oklahoma.
His senior year of high school, Phil, going back a little bit.
Ooh, you were reading.
He, our friend Nick Kosmider from The Athletic, did a nice little story.
Went deep?
He set the single season high school receiving record
Oh,
for the country.
wow.
He had like 2,600 yards, 31 touchdowns. And I think I saw something that
How many touchdowns?
31.
Whoa.
I think I saw something that, or maybe Nick told me this, 7 games that year, he scored a touchdown on the first play of scrimmage.
Yeah. That's how some of these high school guys are.
It's like
when
they knew
just
what he was going to do.
Where did he
and
go to
they-
high school? Like what state?
Texas.
Texas. Oh, so he's probably playing legit ball.
Yeah, 5A.
Wow. Oh, 5A.
Texas forever.
Wow. That's nice.
Texas, they got like 12A.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it goes up to 6A, right?
I don't
Texas?
know.
Maybe somebody could tell us.
If only we had someone.
Eric, I will say you brought up the wide receiver room.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, Montrell Washington, Jalen Virgil, Brandon Johnson, your favorite, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Marquez Callaway, Kendall Hinton, and now Marvin Mims.
It goes up to 6A, by the way.
6A. So yeah, I was right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Callaway's going to be a guy who contributes here.
A lot of guys.
Obviously, you bring him in, former Saints player who he's kind of got some of that speed too. Kind of, I think, a slot type guy. Brandon Johnson, I think more of a bigger bodied guy, kind of like a Sutton. I don't know as much about Lil Jordan Humphrey. We'll have to see what he brings to the table. But it's going to be hard to make the team
Yeah.
because, you would imagine that Cortland, Tim, and Jerry obviously are going to make it. Mims is going to make it. And now you maybe have 2 spots left, right? Callaway, I would think, probably makes it just because this is a guy that you brought in free agency as kind of one of
It was
those.
a focus.
He was a focus.
Yeah.
That's 5 right there.
Yeah.
If you keep 6 or 7, you're looking at a bunch of talented guys like Virgil, Brandon Johnson, who are young guys who prove themselves. Montrell was a former draft pick. KJ Hamler,
Hinton.
of course, is still going to try to get back here and make this football team. Kendall Hinton has, for a long time, just done enough to prove that he needs a spot. He does so much.
Some guys have that versatility where they're like, hey, I can return to.
Yeah.
Kendall's like, hey, I can play quarterback if you need it. You know what I mean? So
that's a
it's loaded in there. Now, I will say Sean Payton, after the draft, said, hey, how you got here doesn't matter anymore. You're just a bunch of dudes in a room now, and whoever plays the best they're going to play.
yeah.
So you gotta show up now. So it's gonna be on.
That's going to be a fun battle to watch. You got some depth there.
Yeah.
It's possible maybe even, I know we just got done talking about draft trades, but maybe one of those guys shows up in the preseason and you can do a little.
Yeah.
Who is the guy who went to Detroit?
Trinity Benson?
Trinity Benson. Maybe you got a little Trinity
then he
Benson.
came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was gone again. Maybe you do a little Trinity Benson situation where you can get a pick for somebody
Yeah.
near cut down day. So, man,
There's some talent there.
buckle up. Let's
you
go.
know? You think about these guys who make these plays in the preseason, like Brandon Johnson or Jalen Virgil. Like at the end of the preseason, we're like, this guy's going to make the team. So somebody's going to show out.
Yeah.
And
Jalen
maybe a
Virgil
couple of
did
guys
make the
will.
team, right?
Yeah, and then Brandon got hurt, and then Jalen made it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Maybe they
there.
keep 10 receivers.
Whoa.
They probably won't do that.
That could be like just a non-traditional approach.
Yeah. Speed.
That speaks to this podcast, Eric. We like that. In the 6th round, they took a safety, J.L. Skinner, out of Boise State.
Yeah, Phil. Good football player, physical, big.
Big.
I think 6'4", right? George said kind of rare to find a guy who has his agility, his movement capabilities at that size. Gives you another option in the back end of this defense. Obviously, Caden Stearns, P.J. Locke, potential options, Delarian Turner-Yell. Kareem Jackson still on the table. George Payton said those negotiations are ongoing. But this is a guy who could give you another option there alongside Justin Simmons. Maybe he's a guy who plays in a dime package sort of situation. And again, a physical football player who probably only falls to the Broncos because he suffers a pectoral injury in February.
A fluky little thing. He was just bench
pressing.
That happened to you, Swanson, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
What were you throwing around? It was like 250, something like that, right?
No, it was more in the 300s.
Threes.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Some light work.
Yeah. Warming up. You were just warming up?
Yeah, and
I was thinking it was like a kind of a SpongeBob situation with the teddy bears on the end. So yeah, Skinner is a guy that he says he's running and lifting already.
Said a month away, something like that, maybe?
Yeah. Listen, I'm not a doctor. That seems quick based on like how fast Josie Jewell and Alexander Johnson came back, but certainly by training camp you would think, just from a timeline perspective, that he'd be good to go.
Yeah, if it was a beginning of February type of deal.
I think he had surgery in March.
So he's only like 2 months out.
Yeah.
So that would be quick.
That would be maybe he heals fast.
He's different.
It's true.
Yeah, he's different.
But yeah, again, a guy that played at Mountain West Conference.
Yeah.
So you're interested to see how that translates to this level, but guy with a lot of physical tools and maybe some versatility there in terms of what he's able to do as well. Excited to see what he can bring.
Yeah, he says JL is just his name. He said his grandfather is JL, his dad is JL, and he's JL.
Yeah.
It doesn't stand for
dots,
anything.
just JL.
It doesn't stand for anything, though.
It's okay. Doesn't need to.
It doesn't. Yeah, he's JL. Yeah. Maybe we can give him a nickname. If he starts making a few plays or something, we'll give him
something longer than JL.
Yeah.
You're like, let's make this more difficult.
Well, and maybe like more fun. So the fun.
I think JL's a fun name.
Yeah. I like it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying you can get a nickname.
I'm not criticizing. I just want to call him something different.
Because he is different. He needs something different. Yeah, what would you say? Justin Simmons like 6'3", 6'4"? He's like right around that same height. So
Swanson?
I wonder if you have two guys who are that size back there. That would be interesting.
Like 1.5 people.
Yeah, both of them. So it's almost like you got three safeties out there.
6'2".
He's 6'2", yeah.
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 That's why you come to this podcast.
Yeah. At what height do you become 1.5 people?
Probably. How tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, I'd say that height.
Yeah. So Justin's almost there.
Almost. He's just one.
He's just one, yeah. And then in the 7th round, Alex Forsyth, a center out of Oregon, was there for 5 years, I think. I think he redshirted his first year and then played a bunch of games, Eric. So spent the last 3 years as a center, but he says he's got a little bit of flexibility along the interior, but felt like he's more of a cerebral player. That's what he said on the conference call after his pick. So he feels like he's a good fit at center there. And George Payton sounded really pumped up that he was going to be available there in the 7th round. Able to pick him with the third to last pick, Eric, and could avoid some of this negotiation and all that's involved with a free agent after the draft. So that tells you a little something just how excited George was after the draft.
Yeah, watch out for this guy, Phil. I think this guy has a chance to really make some waves here. A player who a lot of people, I think, had much higher grades on, who fell because he did not test super well at the combine in a pro day situation. I think declined a Senior Bowl invite. And, just this is a guy that a lot of people think can come in and it's a starting level player. That doesn't mean it's going to happen in year one necessarily, but they think that's kind of his ceiling there. And so could be a good steal. The Broncos, I think Sean Payton mentioned when they were doing some of these mock drafts, there were times when they picked him in the 6th round because he wasn't going to be there later. You end up getting him 60 picks later. You pick up Adam Troutman in the process, the tight end from the Saints. And then you get a guy who, Phil, listen, Lloyd Cushenberry, the Broncos have overhauled this offensive line. Lloyd Cushenberry is the, kind of suspected starter at the moment based on what Sean Payton said, I believe, at the annual league meeting. But with him, Kyle Fuller, who you bring in, and now Alex Forsythe, you've got 3 guys who can really battle it out. And, I wouldn't be surprised if any of those guys end up with that job. And I think they've got positional versatility on the interior of the line. You've obviously got Ben Powers and Quinn Miners as your presumptive starters, but the depth there, maybe you needed to add to it a little bit. So it's a good pick from that standpoint as well. And one thing I'd say generally, and you mentioned this, is Sean Payton said the best player is going to play now. It doesn't matter how you get here. And so there's nothing to rule out that if Forsythe gets here and plays well in the offseason and training camp, shows out well in preseason games, that he couldn't fight for this role here. And he looks like he's got like the beard.
He looks a little mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You want your offensive lineman to have a little bit of a mean streak, I think.
Yeah, totally. I think it's maybe a little bit a different deal than like taking a guy from the Big Ten up north, one of these Northwestern Wisconsin guys. Oregon likes to do some different stuff. The Pac-12 is a little different type of football than that long grass up there in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
the long grass.
Yeah, you're hiding out in the prairie.
But I would say as long as you meet a benchmark athletically, like as long as you're like above this sort of minimum, then hey, get in here, work with Broncos strength coaches. They'll get you ready for the NFL. And if you've got the mental capability, which is so crucial for the center, then hey, you can play at this level. And I think that it'll be interesting just to see how much he pushes Lloyd Cushenberry. Talking to George Payton there after the draft, he said, hey, it's all about competition. And bring in a guy like Alex, and that's going to push Lloyd. So the end result is no matter what, you're going to get better play here, whether it's Lloyd, who's pushed harder this offseason, or if Alex is able to really, make some flashes, make some waves, maybe show some flashes. I think that's what you want to do. If he's able to do that, then he'll get an opportunity to play here. So
yeah, Jeff Schwartz, who kind of a respected former offensive lineman, media guy, focuses on this sort of thing. He said he looks at Forsythe and sees a 10-year starter in this league. So he's gotten some high praise for some of these guys.
Yeah. So. Overall, the 5 guys, they got a pretty good haul, I would say, Eric. Now, every team thinks that. Sean Payton said, look, like everybody's going to be up here talking about, hey, we got our guy.
Yep.
So we'll have to just see how it works. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I think there's enough there to be optimistic about what the Broncos were able to do.
Yeah, and you got 3 guys in the top 100. So that gives you, presumably, talent-wise, kind of the range of, hey, these guys could end up as starters. They could be high-end contributors. Maybe you get lucky and one of them is a really, really good football player. And then so you need guys there, and then you hope that Skinner or Forsythe turns into something. A little bit of, those guys you kind of take a chance on them, right? Because it's 6th-round pick.
Day 3 guys.
7th-round pick. So you don't quite know exactly what you're going to get. But and then – I know we're focusing on the draft here, but the addition of Adam Troutman from the Saints also fills a big need.
Tight end was a big need.
He's a guy that can play, that inline tight end position. He can play out wide as more of a receiver. The way Sean Payton talked about it, he kind of views like Chris Manhertz as just the inline guy and Greg Dulcich as just the out wide guy. So here's somebody now that can bridge the gap.
So they're on opposite sides of the room, I think, right?
So you essentially trade like a mid-7th because you got a pick back. That's good value if you kind of take at face value that the Broncos had a 3rd-round type grade on Troutman.
Yeah. And Sean said, look, like at this point, it's the beginning of May here. He's not. He doesn't have any ideas about what's going to be what or like what the plan is for current guys on the roster or how these new additions. He's like, we're not ready to talk about that yet. So
they're going to do what they see on the field.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens here. Did you learn anything about Sean Payton from this draft?
I think you saw his aggressiveness in terms of going to get who he wants. That's going to remain true. It's hard to tell beforehand. Was that a Mickey Loomis thing? Mm-hmm. Was that Sean? Is that going to change working with George? It was pretty similar to what the Saints had done. So you kind of see Sean's philosophy in that standpoint. Got tough guys that had a certain mentality. And I don't think made picks just for the sake of making them. You see sometimes teams will they want a bunch of guys and they want quantity. This was more about, hey, can we get some guys that we think really fit? And in addition to that, this is for both Sean and George. They truly did go best player. It wasn't like they reached for an edge or they reached for a tackle or a running back or something. They mentioned they wanted a tight end at one point. They found a way to do it later, but they added guys that will make this roster better.
Yeah, and they also said that it never happened where they were waiting to pick their guy, and right before then, poof, he got taken. Yeah. That never happened, which I can imagine if you've got something in mind and then it changes at the last second, that could be a little bit of a disruption.
Yeah, deflating.
Nice. Eric, should we get to our voicemail?
Let's do it.
I believe this one is from Bronco Batman.
What is up, guys? This is Bronco Batman. Yo, the one player I wanted the Broncos to draft, the very one player, I didn't care who else y'all drafted, but the one player I wanted y'all to draft was freaking Drew Sanders from Arkansas. Got to represent from Arkansas. I was so happy. I was like, we were at a restaurant. I was jumping up and down. Everybody was looking at me funny. But that was an amazing pick. He's going to be a beast at linebacker. But overall, I'll give the rest of the draft, definitely a solid B+. So I'm super excited. Definitely going to get me a Drew Sanders jersey, but got a rep from Arkansas. That's awesome. So anyway, keep up the great work, guys. Bronco Batman out.
Thank you very much, Bronco Batman. It looks like you and Bronco Batman are aligned on your favorite pick here.
Yeah. I wonder if the other restaurant goers were surprised to see Batman jumping up and down in their restaurant that they were eating at.
He had the cape and the mask?
I would think so.
I would imagine. He can't reveal his identity.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you think you eat with the mask on?
I think you could eat.
You could still eat?
Yeah, I think so.
Tilt the mask up a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. If you just kind of go back, you could get something.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like blue and orange and blue?
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Yeah. If it's Bronco Batman.
Right. I would say the mask is probably blue, the cape is orange maybe.
Do you have a logo on there or no logo?
Yes.
So he paid for it?
No.
Right, so no.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to hear from Bronco Batman.
Yeah,
It's been a little while.
It's been a little bit.
You got to make a good pick like Drew Sanders to get a phone call.
Yeah. In terms of the draft grades, Phil, we mentioned Sean kind of laughs at those a little bit. It is hard. You look at some of these grades right now, and they've got the Broncos really low because they didn't make any selections till the third round. You see some of these other things. I think Warren Sharp, he said when you look at who the Broncos got compared to where they were picking, I think he had them 6th or 7th. So there's going to be mixed reviews here, right, on any team. And I kind of view it like any of the Broncos additions so far, free agent or not. Hey, it's great. Let's talk about these guys. And then let's wait till we did all the hype last year and we got very excited about what could potentially happen and it didn't go well. So let's talk about these guys and what they could bring. And then let's let them prove it on the field.
And the grades, people do it differently. Like some people, if you had 10 picks and you were able to do this and that, then you get a higher grade.
Right.
The Broncos only had 5 picks, so maybe some people have a different perspective on how to grade the draft. Other people, like you mentioned, hey, based on where you were, what you were able to bring in, and then we talked about it earlier in the show. There's this groupthink mentality, like, hey, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
But we just don't know, and it's all about how it fits in the scheme as well. So, like, if you have an idea on how Mims is going to fit into the offense and you take him and it works out really well, well, then what does it matter?
Yeah.
So,
And we've seen Sean have success with getting some of these late round guys to contribute quickly. So
Yeah.
excited to see what that looks like moving forward.
I wonder what the draft grade was like on Alvin Kamara. You know, he lasted all the way to the third round.
I don't
but
know.
Sean probably's like, I got
Yeah.
a star here. So it's all about how you use the talent you have. So, Eric, any shout outs to get to here?
Oh, I'll shout out LeBron James and Steph Curry. That's going to be a nice little series coming up here.
We get them one more time.
Excited
Those two
to
going after each other.
Yeah, I kind of view this as the real like rubber match between these two guys
Oh, really?
because Steph won the first finals and then LeBron won the second one, and then the Warriors kind of cheated and brought in Durant. So those other two don't really count in my mind.
Oh, so you think that you mentioned a real rubber match, but many people probably don't even think this is a rubber match.
Many people have been saying that
Many
it might
have.
be.
Got it.
So I kind of view this as like a nice, like if Steph were to beat LeBron in this series,
Yeah, what does that mean?
it would certainly change it wouldn't change my opinion of LeBron, but it would certainly change my opinion of Steph.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would elevate it. Whereas like if LeBron did it, you'd be like, gosh, how is this man still just carrying teams? Because the Warriors are probably the better team, right?
I think so.
You think so?
The Lakers are playing really well right
They
now.
are. They're on fire. Since the trade deadline, they've played some really good basketball.
But it'd be kind of like, oh, LeBron leads another upset. So
I sort of feel like those two, their legacies are cemented. I mean, they are what they are. You know what I mean?
yeah. But if
I
Steph
think-
has another like he gets back-to-back titles again when he's the main guy.
Yeah,
that's-
the titles maybe would change something, but if they're like, oh yeah, remember he beat LeBron,
they're gonna run into
I don't
that
think-
buzzsaw that's the Nuggets.
I was gonna say let's have a nice shout out to Jamal Murray.
Oh, no Jokic.
Of course,
huh?
Nikola Jokic
Oh,
as
got
well.
it.
Yeah, but Jamal, he's playing really well right now.
Yeah. That was an impressive game one victory.
Yes, as we're recording this, it's a Monday morning. Eric, excited for game 2 tonight?
Oh, it's tonight?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think. Yeah, see, the Nuggets do this thing where it's every other day. No,
not-
LeBron is about to find out what
The
that's
Nuggets
about.
don't play again until like Friday.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Yes,
Well,
that is true.
The Lakers Warriors is every other day the whole series.
Yeah, I don't like
So
that.
LeBron's in
I'm
trouble.
going to phone in a complaint.
He's going to have to sleep in like a hyperbaric chamber that's in another hyperbaric chamber. That way,
Maybe.
whatever gets out, you just seal it both in
Seal
there.
it back in.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Friday.
Friday. Well, that's nice.
I'm going to one tonight.
Yeah, Ben
What?
Swatson's going to be there.
Late night.
How'd you do that?
It's at my bedtime. I
Yeah.
paid.
Oh, wow.
Cash money. You
Yeah,
when the
I
show's that
out-
good, you go.
I outbid Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson.
Wow,
to get
that's
the 4 seats
impressive.
Be on the floor there. Those two did not look so happy
in that photo.
sitting on the floor there.
The Nuggets photo.
Yeah.
They go to a lot of Suns games, huh?
I think they like the Suns. Yeah.
Okay.
They're older guys, so it makes sense that they would like a team like the Suns, Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, I see.
Retirement?
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. That was it should be cherry
Simmons is
for
like
them.
28.
Yeah, I think he's younger than I am. Yeah.
He definitely is younger than you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Kareem younger
That's
than you
true.
are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it. Well, just shout out to the Denver Nuggets, really. That was a tremendous game 1 performance. I think it shows, hey, this team's for real. They asked Kevin Durant after the game, were you surprised? He was like, surprised? What do you mean? They're the number 1 seed.
Smart. Downplaying. We weren't even supposed to win this series.
That's true.
didn't
Maybe he'll
even
say
want
that in a week.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hook the bear a little bit.
Oh, nobody was poking the bear.
No. Shout out
A
Liz
lot of
Gerald's,
respect.
of course.
Yeah, of course.
And then, Phil, I do have one kind of more on a
Oh,
more
serious?
somber note. Shaquille Barrett,
Oh, yeah.
who we both really like, good guy. Their family just really terrible tragedy over the weekend.
Yeah.
Lost one of their children.
2-year-old.
Had an accident in the pool.
Yeah.
And just really thoughts with Shaq and his family. He's
Yeah.
one of the most fun-loving guys I think that we've been
He is.
around here, and just can't imagine what he's going through there. So
Yeah, that is.
yeah, thoughts with Shaq Barrett and his family.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine. You know what I mean? Just What a tragedy there. Shaq Barrett, a really nice guy.
Yeah, great guy.
He likes to put sugar in his spaghetti. Like, there's already sugar in like a jarred spaghetti sauce, but then he adds additional sugar to it.
More sugar.
Yeah.
I like plain.
talked to him
I like
about it.
plain pasta.
I said, yeah, you like a little cheese on there.
Yeah.
But I was like, Shaq, I was like, how do you eat that? He's like, that's the only way I can eat it. It's kind of like how somebody puts Parmesan on top of theirs. He puts
Sugar.
extra sugar on there. Yeah. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, our thoughts are with him and his family.
And
A really great guy. Went to CSU.
CSU,
So he's,
undrafted player here,
Yeah.
good contributor, and then he's done great things for himself.
Yeah. Won
in
another
Tampa.
Super Bowl there in Tampa. So
2 Pro Bowls, led the NFL in sacks 1 year. He's turned out to be a really great football player too. So,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Thoughts with
Thinking
Shaq.
about him. Yeah. And then how about shout out to Terrell Davis,
Yeah.
and Jake Plummer. They went down there to Mexico to announce the pick. Seemed like a good vibe down there.
Yeah, cool.
Good scene.
Cool deal. The Broncos spent a few days down there, Mexico City, Monterrey.
Yeah.
Introduced a draft pick or two. So yeah, cool to see the Broncos keep doing some stuff down in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, growing the game, obviously, really important. And then also, I really like how these guys stay involved with the Broncos.
Yeah,
you
of
know, what I mean? You
course.
saw DeMarcus Ware announce a draft pick, Jake Plummer, Terrell Davis. I mean, that's kind of cool to just have that alumni influence always going on. So
Definitely.
shout out to those guys. Anything else, Eric?
I don't think so.
I think that's going to wrap it up. We should mention a programming note here.
Oh.
This is the podcast for the week.
Yeah. Sorry.
There was a little bit of confusion whether or not this was a bonus episode or just a special edition.
Special edition
This
early
is a special edition early
episode.
is how I would describe this one. So this is the episode for the week.
So maybe listen to part of it, save it a little bit. Don't do the whole thing at
Savor
once.
this one.
Yeah,
I think we went a little longer than usual,
I think so.
but that's so it'll get you through.
It'll get you
So
through.
I know Tom, you were looking forward to this, Tom Agnetti. Hopefully, this was enough for you.
We hope so.
All we can do is just hope to be enough.
All we can do is our best.
Exactly, and that's what we do.
Yep.
So we'll be back a week from this upcoming Thursday.
Wow.
When is that? That's like May 11th, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Purportedly the schedule release day.
Oh.
So maybe we won't be back.
We only come back if it's big.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure that out.
Schedule release. That'll be an all-day
Schedule
podcast.
Yeah, you thought this one was long.
Christmas is next week.
3-hour special edition Neutral Zone coming up next week. So we'll see what we can
We'll
do.
see what
for that.
happens.
We'll see what happens with that one. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Ben Swanson, nice to have you back, Ben.
It was nice to be back. It was great.
Yeah, it was really nice having you. And Eric Dalal, I am Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.